Hello everyone, Chief Canuck here with a recap of the Halo Wars 2 panel at PAX East 2017. During the panel they talked about story and art direction for the game, as well as the first DLC content drop that's coming. The panel started off with the discussion around the story and the art direction. It's all interesting stuff, but it's all stuff we've all heard before many times as well, especially if you've watched any of the trailers, interviews, and Vidocs. If you haven't heard that stuff before, there's a link to the panel in the description below. It's a great listen, and I encourage you to do so if you have the time. The major news from the panel was about the first DLC content drop, which is apparently set to arrive as early as next week. They plan to release new content around the third Wednesday of every month for at least 6 months. That's the current schedule. This content will include new leaders, units, abilities, and campaign missions. In order to get that content, you must have the Seasons Pass, which comes with the Ultimate Edition, or buy it separately for $29.99 American. Brian Gerard did mention during the panel that you'll be able to buy the DLC individually, but there's no other information or pricing on that at this time, so we'll have to wait and see. It is worth noting that any and all additional maps that they add to the game will be free, which is great to see. I don't like the idea of splitting populations because of maps. This is awesome. Thank you. They told us that they have plenty of leaders coming to the game, and not every leader will have a direct canon tie to the story, like Forge, since he's still super dead. This gives 343 more freedom since the multiplayer is set in a non-canonical space, and Kevin Grace said to expect some fan-favorite leaders and some silly leaders. So perhaps we may get a mechanized Sergeant Johnson, which appeared in the multiplayer Vidoc back in October? Fingers crossed, we can only dream. Anyways, on to the leader reveal. The first leader coming to Halo Wars 2 is Morgan Kinsano, a UNSC Hellbringer leader. Her backstory mentions that she once fought against the UNSC, that is until the Covenant showed up, so you will hear evidence of that distaste in her combat lines in-game. As her leader, her core themes revolve around speed and damage buffs, area effect and damage over time abilities. She's also a demolitions expert, so her units are tailored for extra damage towards buildings. She also features faster cooldowns and cheaper leader abilities, and she loves fire. Like, really, really loves fire. Like, this girl is on fire. Thank you, Alicia. To quickly sum her up, she's a fire-crazy leader that focuses on area of effect and damage over time and in-your-face short-range attacks. During the panel, they repeatedly mentioned that her weaknesses is against air units, so you'll have to rely on standard UNSC units capable of fighting air vehicles. Now let's take a look at her featured units through Blitz Cards. First up, we have her awesome signature legendary unit, Kinsano Cyclops, which basically looks like the UNSC's answer to the Decimus Ultimate unit. It's a Cyclops retrofitted with flamethrowers on both arms. This legendary unit features a flame wall alternate attack that just devastates everything in front of it, and, of course, damage over time. You get a sense of a theme for her abilities and her units. Now the rest of Morgan Kinsano's units are basically units plus, you guessed it, flamethrowers. We have the Flame Hog, it's a shorter range, better against infantry and structures, but is more vulnerable to air units. We have the Veteran Flame Hog, which is more expensive than the Flame Hog, obviously. It's tougher, but does more damage, and has a Flame Mortar instead of a Flame Thrower. So the Flame Hog will have a shorter range versus the Veteran Flame Hog's Mortar Shot. And our other units are Veteran Hellbringers, which are 70 energy, which is a little crazy compared to the 10 energy of regular Hellbringers. So it'll be interesting to see the big difference between the regular ones and these Veteran ones. Now on to her abilities. We have Hell Drop, which is just like the ODST drop, except the drop pods release Hellbringers, and the pods explode with an area of effect fire explosion. We have Hell Charge, which buffs units, giving them a speed bonus, damage boost, and when the units die, they explode! You should be able to guess this at this point. We have Napalm Missiles, which are similar to Cutter's Archer missiles, except with fire and leaves behind a damage over time effect. And we have Inferno, which covers the ground in waves of flame, creating a lasting inferno with ridiculous damage capabilities. This is the ultimate tier unlock for Kinsano. Here's a look at her leader power wheel and the abilities outside of Blitz. For tier 1, we have a turret drop and Hell Charge. For tier 2, we have Hell Drop and Redline, a passive ability which gives speed and damage boost for newly spawned units. For tier 3, we have the Napalm Missiles and Heat of Battle passive ability, which is a temporary buff which makes units highly resistant to damage and gives those units a small damage boost for every kill in return. For tier 4, we have Restoration Drones and a Flame Warthog drop, which drops 3 Veteran Hogs. And our ultimate abilities include a Firestorm Battle Group drop, which drops in Hellbringers, Scorpion, 2 Hornets, all at Veteran, and buffs the zone with max level Hell Charge, which again grants speed boost, damage boost, and cause those units to explode when they die. I have a feeling they might have to nerf that ability at some point. It sounds amazing, we'll see how it works, but that just sounds crazy. And the other ultimate is the Inferno ability that I mentioned earlier. And that's it for her units and abilities. Now, just like with Forge, you'll get 5 packs for Kinsano's units and abilities to jumpstart your collection when she releases. That's all the information from the leader reveal. From the Q&A portion of the panel, they mentioned that they've heard her feedback about the fact that there's only one Blitz map. Now, they said they've approached the mode like League of Legends or Dota, where they're mainly played on one map. But we were told that if they do release any additional maps, they will be free, which is nice. But we were given no definitive answer to the question, other than that they've heard us and they're talking about it. They also told us that the DLC leaders will be much more focused into different playstyles, just like Kinsano is with their heavy focus on fire and anti-infantry and buildings. Last but not least, and definitely not forgotten, ranked leaderboards and rank play are on the way to Halo Wars 2 next week with the content update. And with that, that's a recap for the Halo Wars 2 panel at PAX East 2017. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It greatly helps out with the channel, and I thank you for doing so. While you're at it, be sure to share your thoughts on Kinsano. I really think Kinsano might fit my playstyle. And let me know any other leaders you'd like to see moving forward. Thanks for watching. My name's Chief Canuck, and I'm signing out.